Hello, good evening. Welcome everyone. Chris Hughes from Rebound here on the Upstreamedia show. Today I'm joined by former Team Soap Kestrel's guard, Herm Senor. Welcome, Herm. Hope you're well. How are you doing?
Thank you. Doing well, man. Like I said, it's a nice humid day in Springfield, so I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. I say it's week 8, but being on this show is keeping me busy, keeping me entertained, giving me work to do, and it's good to sort of come on here, chat to people about basketball. And I really look forward to talking to you from your time at Quincy and Kestrels and delving into what's next for you and obviously your branch you're doing. So looking
Yep.
forward to all that. I hear you've been out today. Tell the people who didn't know what you've been up to today. Where some have been quarantined, you've been out to the shops. I hear.
Yeah, definitely had to make a Walmart run and then hit up some Dunkin' Donuts. Get a vanilla bean colada from Dunkin' Donuts. It's good.
Oh, I say a lot of us still quarantined here, but as they started to lift up, I'm sure more people in the UK will be going out getting their donuts and their
Yeah.
drinks from the shops and stuff. So I thought we'd start it with before you came to Kestrels, your time in Quincy, maybe just for people who may not know about the institution, the setup there, and maybe a few of your highlights from
hmm
your time at Quincy.
All right. Yeah. Well, Quincy University. It's a Division II NCAA Division II basketball school, and it's on the border of Illinois and Missouri on the Mississippi River, but it's in Illinois. It's a small private school, Franciscan, so it's a Catholic school, and not too many people there, like a 1,400 in enrollment. But I enjoyed my time at Quincy a lot. I got one of the things that got me to Quincy or going or sold on it was that Coach Marty Bell on my visit when I went. He basically talked about how he graduated almost every one of his players, and then I think it was back then it was like 13 of them had gone overseas. So I just knew for what I wanted to do in the future and academic wise, which is why I'm there in the first place, I definitely knew that Quincy would have been the right fit. And it was my family's really supportive, and it's only an hour and a half away from home, so I knew that'd be easy for my mom and dad just hop on the road, and then also the rest of my family and friends as well.
Definitely sounds great. Being close to home, see that your family can watch you. Um, what a few basketball highlights from your time there? So I'm sure there'd be quite a few to pick.
I guess the best part about being at Quincy was we just kind of got better every year. And then, first 2 seasons we had losing records, but good teams and good leaders. And then junior year we got to that 20 win mark, and then senior year we got on to the NCAA tournament, got to the second round and lost to Bellarmine, who I think ended up going to the Elite Eight. I think that year. I'm not sure they made to the Final Four or not, but Bellarmine's going D1 now. So, but back then that was a good run, and I played with a lot of good people, and ultimately me and Joe came over to the Kestrel. So that just shows you the type of chemistry that we had.
Definitely. And just think about there's a player this season, obviously follows you guys over this season, Dimitri Houston. I was wondering
hmm
whether did he come to you for any advice? Say, obviously, for it to be a small setup, we probably knew each other, even though you weren't there at the same time. And wonder what advice you gave him to come over.
I definitely know I got to talk to him, talk about my experiences, but not specifically, like, oh, this is what to expect when you go over and stuff like that. Just more so, just talk to him when I was back at Quincy visiting with the guys, and he did well this year. I think what he averaged like 17 or something like that. So that just shows how good, saying the type of products Quincy players put out and type of production you'll get from them, but also it just shows. The GLVC in general for a D2, for D2, it just puts out a lot of good players.
Definitely, I think a lot of people to watch that standards level to maybe sort of second guess who may be coming over in the future. Say, like you say, the level's quite similar. It's a good round for them to come over. Um, I know you're all about making it work and getting things better. We'll talk about your brand a bit later. But I was really
hmm
keen to see for your advice to be for maybe the youngsters in the UK think about heading to the US. What important advice would you have for them? As I'm sure you have quite a few bits of advice.
yeah, I got some advice, and also that's really one of the goals of Make It Work is to help people transition from being in other countries, but specifically the UK, and getting over to places in America and destinations and playing either high school or, helping with recruitment to get to the next level and play NCAA or NAIA, JUCO, whatever the case may be. But I guess my advice would just be just like with any other sport, take on, find somebody that can mentor you and show you what to do like on a daily basis on as far as like getting better and growing your skills, but also think about how you want to move on academically, because that's really the key point, is figuring out what's going to be the best fit for you, what's going to feel most like home. And then also competition. I would say play against the best players in your area, branch out, play against the best players in, like if it's Hampshire, what I'm saying, play against those guys. And then nationally, ultimately, you wanna just play against the best talent and just get better.
Definitely. And I say, you and Nick Lewis and a few of the other guys sort of started making work last few years. Um, how did it all start? What motivated that sort of desire to do something to help the next generation sitters?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's always something that's been on my heart, but Nick kind of came to the Kestrels in a weird way, and then once he got there, he kind of showed me the vision, and I took on the global training part and brought it back to Springfield. It kind of started with us doing some sessions over in Whiteley, which is right outside of Southampton, and we did a few global training things. Did a make it work night at one of the Kestrels games, and gave out some Southampton T-shirts, and I lived with Nick, so just kind of talking it up and staying during May. We kind of figured out how we wanted to move forward with the brand. And when I got back to Springfield, I had already been with an organization that put on a show, an event called Take Back the City weekend, and it's to stop gun violence, and we raise scholarships, three mainly. And when we were doing at the time, we were doing a benefit concert and an all-star alumni game from the city schools. So this year we're gonna do the alumni game as well. But last year, basically, that was the first free camp that I did for Make It Work. Then I did a second one in Rantoul, Illinois, and then I did a third one finally in Springfield, Illinois. And that's kind of been my dream, to execute that, and to have a guy like Nick Lewis come in and give me an even bigger vision with it. Just kind of showed how I can impact kids' lives, and specifically for basketball, and then branching out to other sports, and then like I said, getting them to know that education is key, and also being able to just have a plan to do it for a long time. So not just doing it one time, doing one camp, but actually making connections with coaches and players and other organizations, just seeing how we can benefit the youth as a whole.
Definitely. It sounds very rewarding work and obviously very good work for the next generation. Uh, obviously, you won't be playing much this season just gone, but maybe tell me
Mm-mm.
what you've been doing this season. I know you've been doing a bit of make work and other coaching sessions.
Yeah, so I've been doing the global training coaching sessions and doing the camps, clinics, specifically trying to develop kids and make build relationships with coaches all across the board, just so that, like I said, at the end of the day, we want to help kids out. And my journey isn't done as far as that's what, but it's at a level that a lot of players are trying to get to, younger players. So it's like I have a lot of formulas, and I have a lot of resources and connections to help people get to where I'm at. And so that's really where life's at, and that's where I've been doing, kind of molding for the last year. And then also another big part of my life are like my friends and family, and a lot of my friends and family closest to me, they're into music, and they're artists or producers. And so that's kind of why I started my brand Good Enough Too, and it's really just to build up content and use more resources to help support artists, such as themselves, and you know um, just to build it up with merchandise or whatever the case may be, but really just help promote them in the best way, because in this day and age, music is more so streams than anything. So just trying to get more content, more streams, and get the artists that are like brothers to me, just give them the promo that I feel like they deserve.
Definitely, and say it's keeping you busy and learning new skills. What's would you say would be like the biggest lesson you've learned in your sort of outer basketball journey of make it work, or just didn't have team that's really aged you on your journey?
Um, I would say the biggest lesson just obviously well, most people that kind of don't really know in the UK. A very spiritual person and faith based, and that's what I do. Well, actually, while I was home, I had my grandma passed, but she was always the one to tell me to play for the glory to God and stuff like that. So it was great to always have her like guiding me in that. But now it's kind of like building a life after without like the matriarch, the top of the family. So just kind of seeing, being this is the first year I didn't play any sports at all in my life. So realizing like what kind of things I can and can't do, where what my skills what my skills benefit, what I'm saying, in everyday life outside of basketball. Like it's really been fun just seeing what I can and can't do as far as, just life in general. So I just been trying to figure that out, and I think I have like a lot to build on going into the following years. And of course, I'm looking to play basketball, and I have a few options where I could play in the fall. But I definitely know that if basketball, especially with the pandemic, what I'm saying, epidemic, you don't really know what's going to happen with leagues. I definitely have, with between make it work and good enough to, I have a lot that I can execute and build on and do. And I think that's just a big thing for myself, but also for the people around me. So they don't think I'm just chilling or whatever. They definitely know I'm getting things done, and it all serves a purpose.
Definitely, I say from seeing you on the Instagram and all your stuff, I know you're working really hard for the next stage, and I've been looking forward to seeing what that next stage is, if that's playing abroad or playing in America. What sort of options are you considering at the moment in your head? What are your thoughts about what you'd like your next move to be?
Like I said, I've been doing a lot of things with make it work, and I definitely see that um, to be in the UK and be not be too far from Nick Lewis. He's on the Sharks. I feel like that would be um, very good for the brand and also good for myself because I'm familiar with the country and I like England, and I feel like I could get a lot done. So I've been talking to some teams there and just hoping that we can get some contracts executed. But I'm not. I'm a very open-minded person, so I'm not gonna put everything all into one place. But you know what I mean. Everybody has preferences.
Of course, sounds good, and fingers crossed next season. I thought we mentioned the Nick Lewis next. So obviously last season was your last test draws, the last game being the playoff final. And I remember in the build up, Nick Lewis was sort of teasing fans that he will or he won't play. Um,
Yeah,
what was obviously it's quite a funny moment, sort of having the fans on edge and also the players on edge.
yeah.
Was that sort of the highlight? One of the funniest stories with Nick Lewis and being with Tesh that year, or was that one of the funniest parts of the year for you?
Honestly, the those 2 days were kind of leading up to the final were kind of interesting because that Saturday, the finals on a Sunday, and that Saturday we had went to a game at the, what is it called, the Amici Center, and
Uh,
we were just
yeah,
we had the Amici Center in Manchester. We were going to watch the women's BBL game, and we were just going to just watch because we like watching basketball. And it happened so that the Thunder were practicing at the same time that we were there watching the game. And it was kind of funny, the words exchanged. But then also the next day, it was very random. We had our car up there in uh, in Manchester, and like I must have left the keys on the door unlocked, and Nick Lewis went back to the car, and there was a bum in the car, like a homeless man in the car. So it was a very interesting 2 days leading up into the game, and it just to me it just created more excitement because winning the national championship, that was definitely a highlight, or the playoffs. National playoffs was definitely a highlight of being over in England and playing in the NBA.
definitely. I say how exciting stories, and Obviously, there's that rivalry with Worthing with the Nick Lewis, and obviously, I think there's a bit of rivalry with Loughborough. For you, what were sort of the components that led to those rivalries? I think they led to really good competitive games on the floor. Obviously, there must be factors that make it that sort of special affair.
I mean, to me, I never really overthink too many rivalries or anything like that because, obviously coming into the league, there are already rivalries just because, a player played on the Kestrels and then moved to the Thunder or whatever the case may be, if it's off of geographic locations or something like that. But to me, I mean, it's just all about getting the win that day and putting out 100% effort and going out there and giving all you can. So no matter who you're playing against, but definitely when you're playing against programs that have a lot of history, especially Loughborough is a very talented, university and NBL team, and they're partnered with the Leicester Rider. So that whole organization is run well. So you always know you're going to get you're going to get a good product every time you play the game, and those games have always turned out very, very well.
Definitely. Obviously, the second season and also this season has been very good, but your first season, it was sort of built up to what it was in the second season. And obviously, you won the MVP, the national trophy. That was a really good success, but then the team sort of fell at the last hurdle on the national cup and the lead in playoffs. For you personally, what was maybe the closest game out of the three, or what was sort of the most hurting for the team? Just imagine, even though you had some great games, it must have hurt a bit to lose those ones.
I'll definitely say the playoff loss to Himmel in the first round because just because to me kind of the playoffs are like the second season, and getting to the playoffs is one thing, and then after that you can kind of throw everything out and just focus on the next three games. I just feel like we fell a little bit short, obviously, that in that year in 2000, what was that, 18? So we just kind of fell a little bit short. We had the option to play at St. Mary's or play at places, and we played at St. Mary's, and kind of I remember Lee Hodges was kind of he's taking up a lot of room in St. Mary's, so that didn't do us well, and they played us in a 2-3, and we didn't shoot out of it, so kind of hurt us. I think Tom Adorian was kind of scoring a lot of points from the mid-range, and AJ Roberts for sure that game too.
Definitely, it was a very close game and great atmosphere. I think St. Mary's, you sort of slightly smaller venue, but which out the two do you prefer playing? Because obviously you played both at places and at St. Mary's. So what was the better place for you to play?
I mean, as overall professional experience, for sure, places Leisure Center. But we call St. Mary's the Mecca. Like, it used to be a church, and like I said, I'm a spiritual person. I just feel those vibes when I'm in the Mecca, and Elliot's Mr. Southampton too, so you can't go wrong in the Mecca playing for the Kestrels, honestly. So St. Mary's definitely gives you a very big advantage too, and a lot of people step out of bounds on the sidelines.
Definitely, as I mentioned, that's obviously the markings, and then you've also got the people in the stands in the around, so it makes for a good atmosphere. So it's great to get your opinion on both, just to say you guys played a lot.
Especially, and then I'll say also when the people are up top banging on the wall and stuff, standing above you, you can't really rival that atmosphere too many places.
Definitely, I think it's quite unique for the NBL D1 venue to play in. I say your last season obviously is a bit more fruitful than the first one. What would you say was sort of like your 5 highlights from that season?
I would start off with, I think the last second shot I hit against Thames Valley, that was definitely a high. Getting Travis and Nick to the team. John, I love John. He's a good guy as well. We got to travel a lot of places and play a lot of games. I think we went, I'm not even sure, like 7-0 or something before Travis came. So playing with John was cool as well. But also getting the addition of Nick and Travis was big time. I would say, getting to do the make it work stuff, even though that's off the court, that's a highlight because that's a lifelong partnership that you can't really, put the value on. Winning the playoffs in general, or winning the season title in general, and winning the playoff title, um, going on a run, and we won that whole experience because my parents were there for the trophy ceremony for the first game of the playoffs, and they got to see that first game we played against Thames Valley in the playoffs, or second game to actually the first two games they saw before we, but they didn't get to see the final. So having them there for those, that was great, and just the whole experience of just winning with your team, and going through the emotions of really getting to celebrate the whole time and just riding that high, and it never ended.
Definitely, let's say that final was a really good way to finish the season off for you. What are your memories in the game? What for you went well, sort of tactically? What bits did you enjoy the most from that game?
Um, I think I think it was when I think back, it was a really solid effort from everybody. I think we started the scoring with like a Louis bucket or a Travis Charles bucket, which you can't go wrong with that. And then I think Louis scored, and then got Teo always plays his part, and then myself, and then we basically just played a full effort. Jeremy came in, played very well, and that kind of carried over to his season this year, and it was good. We got to mentor him and see him kind of mature as a basketball player. Um, and then just kind of, I guess that was the first time the Kestrels made one Division One, so that's kind of just kind of making history. It was kind of fun and doing it for the fans and the organization, and Matt's a great coach, and he taught me a lot, especially about playing point guard and leading a team and how to do that. So definitely getting that win for the whole organization in general was very exciting. I think there was a time where I hit a three and kind of sealed the game, and they got to whoever's taking pictures got to capture that moment, and that's by one of my favorite pictures all time for sure.
Yeah, not fitting picture. I was zealously celebrating that. It was a good. I think
Yeah.
Tim took that photo. He has a real good way of catching me in really awkward positions. I think there was one for this season. He got me half sat down, and it's made all the
Hmm.
covers for the program, and always me sort of celebrating the sides. You mentioned Jeremy. Obviously, had a great breakout season D1 last season. Have you been sort of keeping track of his progress this year, and how do you think he's getting on at La Luminaire?
Yeah, and when I took my trip down to England, I saw him working out when I was in Southampton. So I kind of see that he's gotten a little bit bigger. He's walking around more like a man rather than just a little kid. So he's just growing and maturing in all ways, and that's all you can ask from somebody that's at his age. And I just feel like it's kind of scary because he still has so much more that he can add to his game, but as far as IQ, I think he's like maturing at a great pace as far as understanding how his body should look and feel and perform. I think he's got that down, and just just as far as total package, I think he'll be kind of like a Paul George when it's all said and done.
Definitely seems very exciting. Even when he was playing for the first team those 2 seasons ago, he was already doing amazing stuff in the men's season. Obviously, you said you came back to UK this year. What was that like experience coming back for you? Was it a positive one? Maybe some
Hmm.
bits you managed to get done in your time during UK.
Yeah, it was a positive time. I got to spend a little time with Nick up in Sheffield. Got to watch some BBL games, see the Sharks get a few wins. Then I got to come down and kick it with some of the some of the old and new players on the Kestrels. Um, and Elliot's my guy, Mr. Southampton, so I was staying down there with him. And I watched the BBL trophy game, and it was exciting down all the way to the finish. And they definitely could have had a chance to win it in regular time and overtime. So watching that game was good, and wish they could have pulled it out for the organization. But it was just a good experience to be with the guys because, like I said, being over in England in the first place is kind of experience that not a lot of people get, especially from Springfield, Illinois. So I cherish things like that all the time, and just being able to even go back and see that the connections will last is just what I'm saying. I'm just thankful for experiences like that, and I just hope to keep building on them. And that's one of the reasons why I prefer to keep playing in England to kind of keep building on connections rather than start them and then start them somewhere else and then start them somewhere else, start somewhere else. I'd rather just start them. Feel like we got a good formula with Make It Work and Good Enough Too, and just keep building on those two and enjoying things rather than trying to chase for more.
Definitely, you talk about experiences, and remember when you were in England when you were playing for Kestrels, you managed in the breaks to go off to explore Europe. What are some of your best memories from off the court from your time with Kestrels?
Um, Off the court, definitely got to go to Isle of Wight, some trips to London, of course, to Paris, France, to Amsterdam. My parents were over; they got to go over to visit some family in Germany. So I myself enjoyed the trips to Paris and Amsterdam and the Isle of Wight. Just getting to see places that I probably just never would have been able to go to if I was sitting in Springfield. Well, right now, I can't just get up and fly to a place real quick, especially not with the quarantine. But being over in England kind of puts me a little bit closer to everything, and I definitely took advantage of that, and hope to in the future as well.
Definitely, and I say when the lockdown goes down, obviously more people go out and explore things. I've want to be going down different donuts like what you've done today, and I say it's
Hmm.
great to have you on. Really appreciate you coming on to tell your story, and I'm sure a lot of people will be looking out for you when you if you do come over to UK next season. I say thanks for coming on. I thought maybe we'd finish it, maybe some advice you have for people. So I think it can be a scary time for some. To say it's quite an unreal experience. And obviously, with your leadership qualities, you probably have some good advice to give to people.
Mm. I mean, yeah, just kind of with the time, obviously you can't control everything, so you got to leave a lot of things up to God's control, and that's ultimately why I am a spiritual person, because I believe he'll always be in charge. And just just to stay patient. If you have something that you're waiting to happen, just do the things that you can right now. Learn from different people that are in your circle, or reach outside of your circle. Actually, that's one piece of advice I could say is outside of your comfort zone, and do things that aren't normal, because results never really came from being normal and doing the same things over and over. I know we kind of talked, and just when you started doing the rebound thing, you started
Yeah,
branching out and making more connections, and then we even connected with the rebound Make It Work deal, and just trying to help EABL kids and kind of get that exposure. Just the same, it kind of goes into what we're doing, Make It Work, just trying to help kids get that exposure. So you never know what kind of connections you can make if you're just sitting relying on yourself the whole time. So you have to kind of speak up, be willing to learn, and definitely right now I'll take that time to learn and grow.
definitely some great advice. Like you say, challenge yourself. Only the other day I started doing a bit of Photoshop, and actually it felt really invigorating to do still. But I thought on paper it seemed pretty scary. But actually, once you sit down, break it down, listen to people outside your circle, it becomes more manageable. I think definitely sort of try
Hmm.
and broaden your horizon this time. Be patient for when you get those challenges to do the things you want to do. Thanks for coming on. I
Hmm.
thought before you go, I didn't know if you wanted to plug the Make It Work website or the Didn't Left website or your brands. Here
Yep.
you go if you want to. Yep.
Yep. The Make It Work website is under construction, but you can definitely follow Make It Work Global and the different pages, specifically Make It Work Global Training on Instagram. And then also the goodenoughto.com website is coming up soon. So if you go to goodenoughto.com right now, you can be hooked up with emails and updates on when the website will be ready, and then also new merchandise release. And I actually got on say a hoodie right now. It says I'd rather stay home, and it's got some viruses on it and stuff like that. So just some cool stuff that we're going to be promoting to go along with the artists and the producers and the playlists that we're putting out. So you can check out goodenoughto.com, goodenoughto underscore on Instagram, and goodenoughto on Facebook. Make it work on different platforms. Or you can just follow me and I'll plug all of them and direct you to the right places. So
Sounds good. Sounds good. If you're coming to the video first time, obviously give Upstreamedia a like and subscribe. They're great guys. They during the season usually stream live games of Thames Valley Cavaliers, but in this off season there's some great content with daily shows. That's everything from me and Herb. Thank you for coming to watch it, and I hope you're all well and God bless and stay safe. Goodbye from me.
I appreciate you having me.
That's right. Thanks everyone.